Hello, viewers, and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. And this morning, let us take a look on important matters. Kudzai Mutisi, a well-known ZANU PF Murakashi and a supporter of President Emerson Mnangagwa, has raised a very important issue about Starlink. The government of the Republic of Zimbabwe is reluctant to implement uh, the opportunities of having Starlink right here into the nation of Zimbabwe, and they've refused to license it, or they are dilly-dallying with its licensing. So Kudzai Mutisi went on to X and said, Starlink, pragmatism in unlocking opportunities. As we all know that in the rural areas, companies are finding it difficult all over the world to have 100% connectivity. Why? It's because it won't make sense financially and in terms of profit. They need to make sure that they operate and maintain the base stations. It will be very expensive. So Kudzai Mtisi says in Zimbabwe, the government funds through POTRAs the construction of base stations in sparsely populated areas. But this is actually not effective because so many areas remain unconnected. So the majority of the supporters of ZANU PF are located in the rural areas where there is no network or the network is weak and unable to do anything. And this gives us a position where we need Starlink. Just imagine you're a young farmer who want to do farming and you have relocated to the rural areas. Uh, how are you going to cope? Stay away from internet, cope. How are you going to research? How are you going to be able to do everything without a connection? You need a connection one way or the other. And that is where Starlink chips in. So you would see that the advantages of Starlink is that number one, it's cheaper to purchase a Starlink kit. That is point number one. The number of devices you connect, there are more. Number three, Starlink does offer high-speed internet as well as very cheap internet. So it can connect from anywhere in Zimbabwe. And installation does not need any expert. Any person can install Starlink on the go. There is no need for professionals to be on the ground to do the installations for you. That is a very, very big advantage of Starlink. So if you are to take a look on other connections, for example, my VSAT connections which are available in Zimbabwe, you will need a technician, and maybe a technician will need to travel 400 kilometers to simply come and put a signal on a satellite dish. And they will charge you a lot of money per kilometer for that technician to come to your doorstep. That is costly. You would see that the money you pay for mileage will be more than the money you have to pay for for purchasing the equipment, or will be close or will be at par. And that makes a lot of people stay unconnected or decide to stay unconnected. Another thing, you'd see that a lot of people would need to come to Zimbabwe. For example, tourists would want to come to Zimbabwe. Mining companies are in remote areas where there is no mobile coverage. These people would want to be creating content. They would want to be maintaining surveillance and communications in their areas. And Starlink will be a game changer. But the authorities in Zimbabwe are not viewing it in such a way. So what it means is those who want to work remotely, they can't because of lack of connectivity and lack of willingness from from the country's authorities to make sure that Starlink is established. Is Starlink a threat to local network companies? Definitely no. So Starlink will bring much needed competition, and that much needed competition will help Zimbabweans who are paying exorbitant prices for data. So right now, if you take a look for the minimum unlimited package you might get on satellite, it's around 300 US. And the speed on its own, it's so slow, too slow, very, very, very slow. And it will be difficult for anybody to be doing something which is meaningful. But Starlink coming in, it will not push out local companies from business because, number one, you'd see that with the availability of VSAT technology, just a few people are affording to connect it. This target said to cost around 500 United States dollars and around $50 to $60 a month. And if you take a look on that amount for you to obtain that Starlink kit, only a few individuals will be able to do so, especially in the rural areas. But companies will be able to do so, organizations will be able to do so. And that would mean that would put the country on an advantage. We have had a challenge with the VSAT, where hospitals or clinics, the staff are forced not to use the internet at work for other things, simply because it's too expensive. The packages they can afford, they won't even last a week if they are to connect every week. But with Starlink, it means a clinic with around 30 staff workers or a hospital with around 100 staff workers, they will be connected to internet, and they will be happy. Everybody will be accessing unlimited internet, and that will be an advantage. Unlike the continuous use of VSAT technology, which is being deployed across the country, but is so expensive. So with Starlink, it means there is going to be competition, and the VSAT technologies prices we have to lower. We have to be at par with Starlink. So you see that the Starlink subscription payment modalities, they are still out of reach for many, because somebody in urban areas simply needs to purchase data at $13, and there is no need to pay around $60. And also, an issue will be on mobile. You cannot walk around with Starlink because it will need power, which means uh, it will be at home, or it will be at a fixed place at a certain moment or at a particular moment, which means you will continue to have Econet, Telecel, Net One offering data prices at a normal fee to the people of the Republic of Zimbabwe without any problem. So you'd see that Zimbabwe is trying by all means possible to stop Starlink, but they did it in the early 2000s when satellite TVs started to be launched in Zimbabwe. The government was reluctant to allow it to happen. But at the end of the day, Zimbabweans ended up having these connections. Just imagine kuti for how long are you going to arrest people vachiramba vachingotenga vachingowanda vachitenga vachiwanda vachitenga vachiwanda. One day you'll be tired of doing so, and you'd see that at a certain point in time it will come a time when you say, okay, you just let people use Starlink but without any benefit to the country. For example, a lot of people, they are connected to some satellite networks for TV coverages where they are not, the government or the country is benefiting nothing from all of it, simply because when it was launched, they failed to regulate it, to bring it and regulate it. That was their problem. It's not our problem. And Zimbabwe is behind in terms of digital technology and everything else. President Mnangagwa had to admit himself that we are 1,000 years behind. So you'd see that the government of Zimbabwe, instead of taking a bold stance against network companies which are offering filthy services, very expensive services, they've dilly-dallied with this issue. They failed to deal with this issue, and they are actually blocking Starlink left, right, and center. To whose benefit? Nobody knows. Nobody understands. It's because Evo Kwabo, they will be using Starlink and nobody will go to ask them or will dare to go and ask them why they're using it. That is the reason why ZBC is using it and nobody cares about it. But a Chinese company which is using Starlink has been fined 700 United States dollars. Just imagine if you're an individual, will you be dare to have Starlink? No, you won't. So you'd see that other countries, the likes of Zambia and Mozambique, they've connected to Starlink, and the mobile companies there have not collapsed. They are still functional, doing their business as usual. Why? It's because Starlink is never a threat to local companies or local network businesses. It's never a threat. So the conclusion given by Kudza MTC is true. It's almost impossible to stop technological revolutions. And the countries which manage or that manage to stop the technological revolution, they also end up stopping their progress. Zimbabwe will never progress without a technological revolution. Whether you like it or not, other countries like China, Russia, they're adopting these advanced satellite technologies for their advantage or to their advantage. In Zimbabwe, is still hostile to Starlink. We do not know why. So this is one of uh, most interesting topics raised by ZANU PF Murakashi, and I agree with him that there is need for the government of the Republic of Zimbabwe to see things differently. But alas, they continue to support ZANU PF despite all these indicators that ZANU PF is not about the people, but about just a few individuals.